They're coming. They're coming.
So we're going to learn all about that.
All right, we'll right in the middle. Yeah, we'll
Put the,
close the door.
the card comes in. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Here comes the,
Oh, I thought the big guy.
I know, the big guy.
That's a funny about this.
Okay. This will go on top of here. Oh, okay. Yes. Just in case there's drinks in it.
Oh, accents happen.
We can fix that.
Is he yours?
He's part of our rescue group.
Oh, my God.
Who knows about bunnies? Do you know everything about bunnies?
How do we move them so we can see the video?
Oh, not yet. I'll go in there.
Don't put my butt there. I'll move this stuff.
They're gonna video them if they're gonna put them in.
Hi there, how are you? Want to take these outside?
Like we all follow.
I'll take it.
He is a big, I have to say, he is
35 pounds bunny. They're big.
It's a big bunny.
This is quite
Oh, look at this guy. He's so little. He's such a little thing. We're grandma's throw away. Oh my gosh. We're all gonna get to pet him. I'm not taking advantage. Well, maybe I am a little bit. Let me get this out of the way. Anyone would like to have a sit?
Isn't this for you to be sitting in?
No. Marcy, our restaurant asked if there's anything here you might enjoy. You or the bunny.
We have some, this actually would explain that they only have.
Good idea. Are you ready? Shall I intro you? Sure.
And I can take pictures.
Sure. Okay. For those that don't know, and I assume most of you don't, this is Marcy Berman. She rescues bunnies. Hey, Marcy. And she is over in that's why she was late. She got stuck in traffic over. She's in Mill Valley. They're rescuing bunnies for how long? Marcy?
20 years.
20 years. So the little bunnies that people get for Easter and that sort of thing, of course, you know, a little bit of time goes by, and yeah, the same thing with chicks. It's like dumb, bad thing to do. So she's going to give us a few little pointers about bunnies and myths. There's a lot of myths that are about bunnies, and I suspect.
Well, we're going to walk the bunnies around.
Oh, okay. So I'll get out of the way.
All right, so we will walk the bunnies around, and I'm so glad to meet everybody. If I have my back to you, please excuse me for that. And if you can't hear me, I'm pretty loud. I'm from the East Coast, so just tell me. I'll raise my voice. This is Merle. Now, I don't know if you saw Merle just raise his tail in that box. That's his litter box. So that's his toilet. And our bunnies, because we spay and neuter them, are litter box trained. So these guys live inside a house like a pampered house cat. So they have a pretty good life. So this is sort of your basic setup. This is what we consider a rabbit cage.
Oh.
This is not, and a horse, but he doesn't live with me.
I tried to get her to bring the horse.
Oh, I wish I could bring him. But you know what, actually, he's the closest being to a horse that I could bring. He's actually, besides his size, he's actually closer in terms of his behavior and his health than a dog or a cat. So, dogs and cats are predators. And rabbits and horses are prey. So they have similar ways of looking at the world. And both horses and rabbits use their ears, and if you look at his ears, and he's got spectacular ears, if you look, you will see what he's thinking and who he's listening to by his ears. They're like these giant antennae. And see how he just turned his ear towards me? He's listening to me, and he's listening to my tone, just like a dog or another animal would listen and feel whether or not there's something to be stressed about. Because when you think about it, this takes a lot of trust for a prey animal to be caged up in front of a room of predators. Okay? I am vegan. I do not eat any animal products, but I am still a predator, no matter how much I love him. And the way you can tell a predator or prey is by the placement of their eyes. So if you look at his eyes, and if you were to look at a deer or a horse, their eyes are on the side of their head, because they're looking around them to try to figure out where the predators are. While we have that lovely eye contact predator stare, where we're looking at each other. So with rabbits, they actually can't see right in front. So when we bring him around, we're going to want you to pet him, or we might bring around O'Hare instead, and have you come up and pet Merle. You always want to pet on the forehead here, like that, and the ears. And if you look at Merle when you come closer, he has a beautiful heart. So
Why don't you scratch him under the chin like a dog?
they have scent glands under here, so they chin things to tell you that you're theirs, or this pen is his. They're very territorial. They actually don't all get along. They can really fight viciously, and so that's why these bunnies are not just running around together, because they are very territorial. They're not these sweet little innocent beings that a lot of us think they are. They're pretty visual. They can't see. Well, that's not the reason for that. The reason I know of is that it is because it irritates the scent glands here. And so it doesn't feel good to them. Like it feels good to other animals, it doesn't feel good. It's annoying. Plus they have whiskers all over their face. Just like a horse, the horse's whiskers help them navigate the world. You can come in. We'll just move this stuff, that's fine. Yeah, there's plenty of room. We'll make room. We'll make room.
Yeah, we'll get him out in a few minutes, so
Everybody, you want to come up here?
Oh, my goodness.
No, I'm just going in. Whoops. Merlin? Merle. We gave him kind of a redneck name. His name is Merle the Earl. Merle the Earl. Now it takes a lot of trust to have him sitting there eating calmly. We specifically only take rabbits to these sorts of things that enjoy it, because it's not fair to drag them somewhere where they're frightened. He loves it. He's a big ham. He likes to have all the attention, and he's just having a great time here.
Do they
So
bite?
any animal will bite. I'll bite if you provoke me, right? So it's the same.
I can attest to that.
I can too, yeah.
I love your car, so I'm perfectly happy.
Are you happy with the car?
I love that car.
You sold her or something?
Yeah, so they don't bite unless you irritate them. And I find that most animals warn you before they bite. Animals are very nice about it. They warn you.
They're polite.
They warn you, and if you don't listen and you don't speak their language, then they will bite you. Now, these guys are not going to bite you. And very few of our rabbits actually bite. They're the most forgiving animals I have ever met in my life. And I mean that. The things that these animals go through before they come into our rescue can be horrific and traumatizing. He is a rescued meat rabbit. So when you see rabbit meat on a restaurant menu, this is one of the breeds. He is from a 4-H meat rabbit farm. And he was saved from slaughter. He came in with 3 babies. We don't know what happened to the mother. So, yet he's forgiving, he loves people. The fact that they allow us to be with them after some of the real cruel things people have done to them never ceases to amaze me. And it's different, I mean, all animals get traumatized, but a prey animal that gets traumatized in particular, to have them come full circle and be a healing animal is pretty remarkable. So that's his story. And then this guy, this is his first outing at one of these events, so he's not so sure about it.
Okay, so we'll all be quite
All right. So this is O'Hare. Okay? So O'Hare is an Angora. I don't wear Angora fur, just so you know, because unless you know the person who's gently pulling the fur, I'll just leave it at it comes from very bad places. So we don't encourage Angora
They do not,
fur.
they used to say they brushed them and that Angora rabbits were all happy, and it's like, no.
No.
No, that's not,
No,
that's
so
not
just
true.
saying that, just so you know, we'll have him go around, but if you want to feel somebody incredibly luxurious and sweet.
Marcy, you said something about, I
Yeah.
think you told me about how you handle I mean, when you pick up a rabbit,
Okay.
you don't pick it up,
Right.
because it can kick.
Right,
Is
now
that-
I look like I have a really casual, easy grip on this bunny. He is being held super tightly next to me, and I've been doing this for 20 years, so most people, I would say, have 2 hands on the rabbit. And the reason is that their spine is super fragile in the back. If they get picked up and dropped, like we are always careful with kids in particular, or adults that just don't realize it, their back is fragile and they will break their back or break their spine. You know how a cat can right themselves? Rabbits can't. And so if I dropped him, I would injure him. But I have a really firm grip on him as if I had a piece of glass next to me. So and then I will cover his eyes if I don't want him to go jumping out somewhere.
Also, it's like a bird.
Probably.
That's what you do with birds if you
Yeah.
want to calm them down.
Yeah, because if you can't see, it's harder to go jumping out of your arms.
True.
He came from a county shelter in Sonoma County. He's got a ripped up ear, and I can pretty much bet you that's from another bunny. Because that's what they do. Oh, he's a survivor. No sympathy.
Huge.
He's fine. So, do you guys have any idea how long a rabbit lives?
No.
You want to take a guess?
20 years.
I wish, but no.
10 years?
And the answer is it depends. It depends.
It's like dogs, yeah.
If they're spayed and neutered, if they live indoors, no outside hutches, if they're spayed and neutered, if they get the right kind of diet, and typically the mutts are healthier than the purebreds, if all of that happens, anywhere between 8 to 12 years is really common. Really common. When I lose a bunny under 10 years old, I feel like it hasn't been long enough. But if you don't spay them, the females have an 80% chance of getting cancer by the time they're 3. So a lot of people don't know that. They go and they buy a bunny somewhere at a pet store, or they go to the county fair, or they go somewhere and they think, my bunny's going to be alone, I don't need to spay and neuter. They don't survive very long. We take in the rabbits
So that's if they're unspayed?
unspayed.
Then they
And
have
the
an
boys
80%?
get testicular cancer. We have a 10-year-old rabbit that we got from Animal Care and Control. Owner surrendered, and we weren't going to neuter him because he's old, but he got testicular cancer. So he's fine. We neutered him,
Yeah.
and hopefully he's fine. But
How old is this one?
He's probably about 5. Now, the big giant breeds like him, they tend to not live quite as long. They're like the Great Danes. So your healthiest bunnies are typically going to be the mutts, the up-ear mutt bunnies, and the white bunnies with the pink eyes.
Yeah.
The ones that tend to not live as long are the purebreds, the floppy ears. Because when you think about it, a rabbit needs to be able to hear and needs to be able to see peripherally. So whoever invented a floppy ear bunny made an animal that looks like a dog, but ends up having a lot of health issues, ear infections, dental problems. They're just kind of a mess. So that's typically, healthy is a mutt.
Yeah.
All the rabbits that we take in come from animal shelters, where they're on the euthanasia list. Now the thing is that doesn't make the shelter bad, because a lot of shelters do not accept rabbits, and that's a problem. They don't accept any other animal besides an adoptable cat or dog. So if you have an adoptable cat or dog, you don't need to euthanize. But when you take in the goats and the snakes and the birds and the cranky cats and and the harder to place animals, then they end up in trouble. Now we're lucky. San Francisco Animal Care and Control is one of the best shelters that we work with. So we're very fortunate with them. They call us on almost anybody who's not going to pass for behavior or anything like that. But rabbits who are in a shelter setting are cornered prey animals. So their way of reacting is going to be aggressive, usually, because they're backed in a corner. People don't understand rabbit language. So if a rabbit is boxing at you, they're saying, get away. They're not saying, I'm going to kill you like I'm a 100-pound dog who's coming at you. They're just asking you to get out of their space. So that puts them at risk, because people who don't speak rabbit language will misinterpret rabbit communication as being aggression when it's actually fear. And so a lot of the bunnies that come to us have been put on the list for aggression. And usually the ones that are aggressive are the smartest. They're like, I really don't like it here. I really don't like it. I don't approve of this. I don't like it. And we honor that sort of, that sort of ability for them to communicate. He's going to mark his territory a little bit with his poop. We are always proud when we see enormous poop from a bunny. We are. I know that sounds silly, but one of the ways you can tell if a rabbit is healthy or not is by their poop. Is it big? Is it small? Is it different color? Is there not enough of it? And since most of their diet, about 80 to 90% of the diet is hay, so it's roughage. So they can live on pretty much hay and water.
So it doesn't smell the same as
No, and that's what's
as like
nice, because they're
cat poo
complete
and dog
herbivores.
poo.
These guys, 80 to 90% of diet is hay. 10 to 15% is leafy greens. 5% are the pellets. So it's reverse what people think. Anything that's highly processed, like pellets, were made for human convenience of just dumping it in there. But the hay, well, our vet explains that anything that we humans can chew and digest is a treat for a rabbit. So we can eat their pellet, not the poop pellets, but their food pellets. We can eat the greens and digest it, but we can chew on hay all day long and we'll never digest it. But the hay is what keeps their teeth healthy, which then keeps their digestion healthy. And it's their back teeth, it's not their front teeth. I forgot how many teeth they have. They're like 28 teeth. They have a lot of teeth, not just the front one. So biting on wood blocks is not what keeps them healthy, it's hay. So does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Is he an extra large rabbit?
No, actually. For his breed, he's small.
And you said he's a food.
He's a Flemish giant. And,
kill him for food.
He's one of the types. Now, Angora rabbits are raised for their meat and their fur. So rabbits are in this gray area, which is really...
So you have bigger ones than him?
Yeah, I don't anymore. before
No,
Merle
they're
was
all-
our ambassador bunny, we had Tank. And Tank,
Oh, God, I remember Tank.
remember Tank? Tank was 2 pounds bigger than him. He's 13 pounds.
Huge.
Tank was
Only
15.
13 pounds?
Yeah, Tank was 15 pounds, and then the Flemish Giants can get up to about 19 pounds. So he's on the small side of a Flemish Giant.
How long do they live normally?
6 or 7 years.
6 or 7?
Yeah. Yeah, so the big
I'm
ones don't
Flemish.
tend to live as long. I've known of some that live to be 9. But the other bunnies, we've had volunteers with their bunnies live to be 16.
Oh,
You know, and by that point, they're on extra
yes.
fluids
They're not
and they're
running around.
blind and, they're,
Yeah.
but they're happy and we let them live out their lives as, as long as they have good quality of life.
And
And
like us.
yeah, well, exactly. I mean, just because a bunny doesn't look like what somebody thinks a bunny should look like. We have bunnies that have, can't walk, bunnies that have 1 eye, 3 legs, they drool, but they're loving and they're sweet and they want to be around, and so we let them, do what they want. Now, he might be chinning his bowl. I'm not quite sure what he's doing over there. Is there any water in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so any other questions?
I've heard they eat almost anything, like cords and floorboards and...
They can if you are not prepared for a rabbit. The thing is, it's like having a perpetual toddler. If you have a perpetual 2-year-old child, they're going to get into everything. They're going to put it in their mouth, they're going to destroy it. It's very similar with a rabbit. And so you basically want to make sure that you cover your electrical wires. It's pretty easy. You go to the hardware store, you get some hard plastic tubing. You remove any houseplants that are poisonous. Because they're so domesticated, they can't tell what's safe and what's not. And so you leave it there, they're going to explore. They're not, we joke around, they're not good decision makers. And that's another thing, like the carrots that were brought in from the kitchen. It's a great thought, but carrots are high in sugar. So the carrot tops are good for them, but the carrots themselves are loaded with sugar. So for a bunny his size, he might get a slice of a carrot the size of a quarter once or twice a week. It's not about chewing, it's the sugar.
Oh, the sugar.
So if you imagine a whole carrot, that if if someone's 120 pounds and they eat 1 carrot, and you look at a 13-pound bunny and they eat a whole carrot, that's a lot of sugar. And so the sugar can really impact their digestion in a bad way.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you'll notice I'm not walking around and holding these rabbits. Now, these guys will let us, but rabbits as prey animals want their feet on the ground. They, their only option to protect themselves is to run away. And so when you take them off the ground, even if you get them as babies and you train them, you can't train them to love to be held. It's not their natural instinct.
Yeah.
So we sit on the ground with them or wheel them around.
He looks like he could jump out of there if he wanted to.
He's remarkably unathletic.
Eats too much.
It's actually the smaller ones that can jump higher because they have a lower center of gravity, they're more nimble. He has a hard time getting that body up and over unless he's standing on something. This guy could easily do it. We have a couple of bunnies that can jump out of a pen this long. And we have to cover it with a sheet.
Wow.
And, their job is to escape. That's, a clever rabbit escapes. I mean, these guys are so domesticated, he's ready to take a nap.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, we're lucky that we have a bunny who lets us take him around like this. His other option would have been food, so this is certainly more enjoyable for him. Any other questions? I'm happy to answer anything about behavior, health.
How long does that bunny's fur get? It looks like.
He gets pretty, we
Like an
comb
inch
them at
tall
least
or-
once a week. The thing with rabbits
What was the
is,
question?
how long the fur can get. And
yeah.
and I just combed him today because he gets knotted. That breed of rabbit was meant to be combed 3 or 4 times a day. And so he ended up at the Marine Humane Society full of knots, because it's hard for even those of us who know what we're doing to keep a rabbit like that from getting knotted. His fur gets kind of, thick, especially in the back. But what's interesting about rabbits versus cats and dogs, they can't vomit. And they're like horses. Horses can't vomit either. And so all that fur that they ingest when they groom themselves, it can build up in their intestines and it can kill them. And that petromalt stuff that you would give to cats for hairballs doesn't work for rabbits.
Yeah, they'll fight.
They will fight.
They'll fight.
They will fight. Rabbits fight with each other. Badly. Badly. You would think they're all nice and sweet, but they're not.
Are they affectionate like cats are? I know they have different personalities.
They are really loving and really affectionate, and they're also mischievous. Okay? So there are people who know cats understand rabbits pretty well. You have to earn their affection, and you have to earn their trust. And it's funny, they make you work for it. I mean, Nola, you might want to explain, one of your bunnies. Nola lives with a couple of adopted rabbits.
Their personalities vary a lot. Like some bunnies give kisses by licking you, so they can lick your, they groom each other to show affection. So if they love you, they can groom you on your face or your arms, or.
And it's not like a cat tongue; it's soft, isn't it?
It's very
it's
soft.
fabulous.
It's very.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
Yeah, cat tongue.
He gives
Cat
a lot
tongue's
of
not
kisses.
so much.
Yeah.
He gives a lot of kisses, so we'll see if he gives any. Even if they don't kiss you, that's not the only
Yeah,
sign
he's a
of
big
affection.
snapper. He's a big napper.
They seek you out. They jump up on the bed a lot of the time. They run around. They play. They bond for life with their rabbit companions and with humans.
They do?
They do. And they're very loyal animals. And when one of them passes away of a pair, we let the partner spend time
With the dead.
body, so that they comprehend, and because they can go looking for them.
Yeah.
And if they don't know what happened, they can be wandering around the house for weeks looking for them.
Oh, my.
And
that's
people
sad.
really underestimate rabbits.
Yeah.
And so they're very devoted animals. It doesn't mean they're not manipulative, because they will manipulate you for food and for treats and things like that, but they're definitely as loving as a cat or a dog. They're just different about it. And for me, the fact that they trust us like this is also a sign of affection. He could be hiding, he could be mean, that trust of being with a human is a big deal for these guys, especially if they've been mistreated. But they will seek you out for attention. The cat people get it more, because cats will give you that look of disapproval, and rabbits
Oh,
do.
God, yeah.
You know that look, and so rabbits are very similar that way. Yeah.
We heard a rumor that you were bringing to meet us a 35-pound rabbit.
Did she say that?
He said he looks like he's 35 pounds.
That's the guy right
But
there.
that's the guy, yeah,
There are 35-pound rabbits, but they're in Europe.
when I've
we
seen
don't
her
have
carry
it
him
here.
around, it looks like a 35-pounder.
It looks like he weighs as much as
she does.
Definitely.
I guess what we can do is, you guys can feel free to ask questions. Do you want us to walk around with them, or wheel
Oh,
them
God,
around?
yeah.
that'd be
We want
lovely
to
if
touch,
you
we
could.
want to
wanna
touch.
That would be
What was that?
lovely.
Oh, she needs leave, actually, so
Okay.
I'll walk them
Okay.
around. I'll walk them around. I'll start with Merle, and then I'll bring this guy around.
Okay.
Because he's not familiar with this yet. So let me bring Merle. Merle! Come here, Merle.
Merle. Oh my God, Merle. Look at his feet.
All right, so go ahead and
His feet
pet
are
him
so
on the
cute.
head. And I may wheel him in the wheeler instead.
Touching here.
Feel his ears, how beautiful those
Yeah,
ears are.
Oh,
They're like silk.
So soft.
And how much does he weigh?
He's only about 13 pounds.
Would you let him come look in the camera?
Sure.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, Yes.
Ham it up there, baby. Look at that. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, he's gorgeous. I love his little fat rolls. And actually, Peter, you could probably wheel him in that stroller. What, this guy? Yeah, the other, Merle.
And if you get
That was a good picture of my butt, wasn't it?
You still want
PJ, this
to
guy.
Oh, this guy, oh, yeah.
If he gets edgy in here, move him, but that way people can pet him.
And I'm
Carry her to the stroller.
Hi, Angel.
No big word.
Okay, let's hit some.
Oh, yes, I'll do.
Do they wag their tails?
All right, I'll start up here.
They twitch their tails.
I'll bring him up to the,
Is it okay to do it?
yeah. Isn't he beautiful?
Let's see. Get this up here so you can, David, can you move that chair?
Floating chair.
Yeah, I brought a lint brush.
Just for a moment. Oh, okay, all right, all right. Never mind.
That's amazing.
I do.
Wait a second. I'm coming.
I gotta go with my laundry stuff. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure thing, thank you.
He's been here, Rick.
Oh, he's been here, okay. All right.
He hasn't been over here. Here.
He'll come. Hi. Hang on a second, we're coming.
Hello.
Okay, so we don't keep under the
Welcome to Rabbittville.
Me, I.
black, yeah, black.
Somebody else was sitting
I
there.
think somebody's sitting there, but I forgot.
You know, all my black clothes have white fur. Everywhere.
I don't.
Foster parents for short periods of time. Where they, you know, you have something like that in your apartment for a little while. While somebody.
Well, thank you for coming.
He's just so somehow that little bit of Angora got in my.
They stay clean?
Exactly.
Oh, is this the guy? Is this Jim? Is he sitting there?
No.
Coming in that direction, okay.
No, this is not.
Wipe it up right on the top of the head. There you go. Oh, you are a ham. Oh, God, yeah. He's a total. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Did you see one of those? See the size of this one?
He was in there.
The residents have
No, can they? I think you could probably have them here. You have to ask. Well, but they,
But they live in the county.
yeah. You just have to ask. I have no idea.
I don't know that sense.
Yeah.
Go one way or the other.
It's too much. So right up here.
They're just going to put me in the way.
Yes.
But you as they did a whole thing about their personalities and that.
Oh, did you talk about the personalities? Yeah. Weighs more than me, so what would you do jump from here? Oh, those are the
Will we touch it, or are we touching him when he does that? What do you think?
Well, that's where you get some rubs, don't you?
Because he likes to go from there to the top of everything. I mean, they could do that, he gets on top, yeah. Yeah.
We always pet
And then when you're sitting there, people, you should be so
And I can't tell you.
So you're supposed to have
David, couldn't a resident, couldn't one have a rabbit with,
As far as I know, I think so. I don't see why not.
yeah.
The rules, as I understand it, just limit the size of a pet.
Right.
I don't think they say
How many
it
people
has to
in
be a
here
cat or
have
dog.
pets?
Add or have?
Have.
Of what?
Are you familiar with CIDO?
Yep.
The CIDO program at SPCA?
right? Oh, Sino is here.
Jessica, yeah, Jessica is here too. And she's right here. And the SIDO program at SPCA is if something happens to you, SPCA will take the animal and I happen to know I've had a lot of SIDO cats in my office when I worked at SPCA.
Thank you very much.
They take such good care of these I mean, they take care of all the animals nicely, but the SIDO cats have a special place, and they're really sad, cats and dogs. I know, he's huge, he's a monster. You want to pet it? Okay, here we go. He'll probably come right up there and let you. Oh, he's gonna settle in. Can you reach down?
Are you on that?
Can you reach down and
Jen,
pet him?
are you on that program?
No.
Put it in your will, and if something happens to you, then the cat's taken to the side of the program. They guarantee they'll find another home.
Program, you want to live in this place.
We're coming.
Put enough money in our will to-
But I invited Jessica because I know a lot of people don't know about the SIDO program, and it's definitely worth knowing about. And I'll let her elaborate.
And you got distracted by the
I know, couldn't get distracted by the
But, so I run the SIDO program at the San Francisco SPCA. And if you know of the program or have your pets enrolled, you probably know Sandy Erber, who I took over for about a year ago. So I partially wanted to come out and just say hi and show my face to SIDO members. It's a program at the SPCA where if your cat or dog outlives you, then we'll take on the cat or dog and find it a new home. So if you are in the SIDO program, I'd love to meet you and talk to you. And if you aren't in the SIDO program,
Anybody in the SIDO program? I am.
I think I think there's recognize a few faces from photos and things. But I also like to mention right now, my favorite thing about the SIDO program is that it allows a lot of people to have pets when they didn't think that they would be able to. Because there's a plan for the future of that, for that pet. And right now we also have free adoptions for seniors. So if you don't have a pet and are interested, it's a good pairing. We have a donor who has underwritten all adoptions for seniors. So you can come adopt a pet and then enroll them in the SIDO program and you're all set.
It feels, our two cats are on SIDO, and it feels really, really good knowing that they're safe. That if, David and I jump out the window, they'll be taken care of.
That's metaphorical, we're not really.
Damn.
Isn't he sweet? Oh my God, love that baby.
Oh, right.
Can you pick them
Oh,
out?
that's a lot of.
Not here, I think.
Yeah, Marcy does, but.
Very happy.
Look at them.
David,
You going?
if there's no reason I want to come back as one of your cats, I think it's a really good life.
It's not
So
bad, I'll
if you
tell
do
you.
have questions about SIDO, do talk.
Yeah, and I brought some material too, if anyone wants to sign up.
That thing is big.
Take that one, take that one.
Go get the answer.
I can't believe he's less than my cat.
I know, doesn't he look?
He's huge.
Well, part of it is I'm not very tall.
Well, and look at her. Look at her with the rabbit.
It's like holding your pony.
My cat might be the
Oh, the peregrine
Get
falcon.
that, boy, he's really watching that. Really?
Yeah, no kidding.
Come back there every day.